All right, guys, I should be back in here live. Let me get over to the group. Just again, please comment. Let me know you can hear and see me, and then I'm going to go ahead and get started. Just go ahead and please let me know if you can hear and see me, and we'll get going right now. Let's see, I'm going to go into the group. All right, unfortunately, I cannot see your guys' comments. All right, I think it should be working now. All right, I see Carrie, you replied about 2 minutes ago. And I'm going to go ahead and get started in about 2 minutes. For whatever reason, StreamYard is having a hard time connecting over to the group where I can see your comments. All right, Facebook user, I see your comments. I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'll make the assumption that the technology will catch up. For some reason, I'm over at Facebook. It says it's still waiting for a live signal, but let's go ahead and get started. Again, this entire mastermind will be maybe an hour long. I'm going to just basically talk for about 30 minutes. I will record it, so it'll be available afterwards, okay? So let me first kind of say what this masterclass is going to be about. It's essentially going to be teaching you how to manifest in your life in 5 easy steps. These are a process that I refined myself. I got a download from let's say my guidance, my higher self, that taught me a formula in order to manifest and create in my life. And I've refined it over the years. That was many years ago I received that. And I want to make the class about you guys, but I also want to tell you a little bit about myself first, so you know who I am. I've been, again, my name is Hal Weinschenk, and I've been a spiritual teacher and a counselor for over 20 years. I first started doing meditation and spirituality as a teenager, and then I've been practicing and teaching success and spirituality practices ever since then. So I've been at this a pretty long time. I have a very diverse sort of career and background. Just real quick, my educational background: I have my undergrad in sociology and my master's in psychology, summa cum laude. So I really know how to do the research, and I really do know a lot of wide scope of topics. I've also operated a couple of very successful businesses in which I went from basically being an employee to being my own boss as an entrepreneur. So my spirituality background, part of that as well, is I did well over 2,000 certified hours of regression hypnotherapy, neurolinguistic programming, past life therapy, a lot of different topics over an 8 to 12 year period is when I was learning. And also, I've also taught a lot of classes in person and a few online as well, in dream work and relationships, health, well-being, meditation, trance states, synchronicities, self-improvement. I've done life coaching. That just names a few of the classes and courses that I've facilitated. And I ran, like I said before, a successful spirituality counseling practice for a lot of years. And that was, I enjoyed that a lot as well. So I've walked the path, of spirituality and success with both the ups and the downs. And I've learned, a lot of things over the years. I'd like to help you bypass those pitfalls if I can. Let me do one more test here, guys. Let me see if I see any other comments. I'm only seeing comments from one user in here. Was everybody else able to get back in? Just sorry, guys. I'm going to do one more pause. I don't know if it went over to Facebook is the strange thing. Let's try one more time. I can see and hear you. All right, good, good. All right, so let's keep going. The big thing about today, I just really want to show you what I call ancient secret manifestation codex formula. That's what I'm going to be calling this. I'm also going to be writing a book on this. The goal is before the end of the year, and I'll let you guys know about the book as well. I call it codex. The word codex comes from a code book. And it is like a code. It's like a recipe in order to manifest. And as I said before, I was given this download while meditating. If you believe in higher guidance or angels, or even just your higher self, your higher intuition, it just came to me very clearly, and I quickly wrote it all down. And then over the years, I've refined it and asked for more help and such. And I've got it down to 5 steps. Really, it's really that simple. It's just 5 steps. And I'm going to share that with you today, a lot of it. So this class, again, is going to be about an hour long. We're going to record it, and then at the very end, I'll do questions and answers, and you guys can, post in the group here and ask me what you need to ask me so I can help you with manifesting. First, I always believe when you start any kind of a topic or a conversation that you define your terms, meaning let's define what manifesting is. And manifesting, it starts with this very basic principle that you are the creator of your entire life, okay? And I know that's a big one for most people to wrap their heads around, but it's really true. You're a co-creator in this world. And it's not magical. I'll get into that later. It's more about you and your determination and your vision is what creates your world. Your life is mostly determined by your perception of it and your mindset about it. And your mindset, it's more than just the mind or the thinking. It's also about feelings and sensing. And those are different than emotions. We can talk about that later, but you're a feeling being. You pick up on things, and we call that being heart-centered. And there's wisdom in both. The balance to do here is between the mind and the heart. Most people only operate in the mind. I post this on a lot of my TikTok videos. I have a whole channel going there, and I'll post that link below so you can see those. But it's really the balance between the two. Those two things, your mind, your thinking, and your heart, your feeling, is what determines what we would call your vibration. Your vibration goes on the assumption that you attract to you what you want. And so you're sort of the creation generator. Your vibration determines what you attract to you, what you create. And we're creating all the time. This is the big misconception that a lot of teachers teach when they're teaching manifesting, is you only want to get into the good, okay? But you're always creating and manifesting all the time, both the good, bad, the neutral. You're creating. All of us here are creators. You cannot stop creating, no matter what. So it's a matter of mastering that vibration so that your things are coming to you more clear and flow. So vibration, so positive vibration makes sense from your perceptions and your mindset. It brings more positive things into your life. Negative vibrations bring, of course, negative things into your life, or what we'd call negative. Nothing is really negative. There is no failures in the way I teach. There's just blockages or learning episodes in your life, okay? It's how you look at them. Again, it's that mindset. If you see it as failure, then it's failure, but it's not. You're just learning, you're growing. So the universe responds to you. The universe responds to your vibration. In psychology, they call it an internal locus of control or an external locus of control. In other words, a person that has an internal locus of control believes that they are the masters of their destiny, versus a person with an external locus of control, and you've met them before, they blame the world for everything. Everything is outside of them is what's causing the things happening in their life. And so what I try to teach people is to have a more internal locus of control where you accept that you are the creator of your life. And so again, this goes back to vibration. So you raise your vibration, and then you will be able to watch and experience your life changing for the better. And it works every time without fail. It really does. You just have to get very clear with what it is that you're vibrating at. So when I raise my vibration, I have a lot less stress, a lot less worries, a lot less frustration. All that stuff disappears. And whatever my heart craves, because again, it's mind and heart, it really comes to me a lot more easily and a lot rapidly, faster. So my feelings, my heart, and my mind, they all come into alignment, and then it all flows. So the next obvious question is, why are you unable to attract the desires that you want. This is the first question I always get from people is, why can't I, get what I want in my life? It just doesn't make sense. I've always wanted this, I've always wanted that, and nothing really seems to be working out for me. And so there's three real main reasons that I've distilled it down to. Okay. The three are worries and doubts, not deserving, and fear. And I'm going to kind of define all these, what I mean by this. So worries, doubts, I mean, these are normal. They're human traits to get a little worried and a little concerned about things. It's when our worries and our doubts become overwhelming that they're a problem. And one main way to overcome this overwhelm, in other words, overwhelm meaning the emotions, your emotions have gone too high, is to act as if you already have that thing that you're trying to manifest. And I know that sounds like, well, wait a minute, if I'm acting, I don't really believe that. Yes, this is true, but it's going to change your vibration. And we're going to get into that. The main aspect of all this is to change your habitual way of thinking and feeling. Excuse me. If you follow a lot of the ancient masters, this is what they did. They disciplined their mind, they disciplined their emotions and their feelings, their heart. Okay. So play with this idea, and it's like the old saying. We experienced this when I was in sales for many years. It's fake it until you make it. Actors say the same thing: fake it until you make it. And again, all you're doing in that stage of manifesting is you're training your mind. Okay, you're taking yourself from this place of I'm really worried, I have a lot of doubts, to this place of, okay, well, let's see how this goes. I'm going to fake it till I make it. And if you keep doing this, you'll get better at it, and it will come to you in time. So set aside your worries and your doubts for now and move forward anyways. Act as if you already have it. That would be the first part. The second part that would block you, and we call this blockages or resistance in the manifesting realm of things. The second thing that would be a blockage or a resistance is not deserving, not feeling like you deserve to have these things in your life. It's a big one because it has to do with belief systems, and it has to do with what we call money consciousness. So let's talk about that a little bit. It takes a little bit more time to resolve sometimes, and I do help students with this one. It's a lot of times we have to do that one-on-one. Money consciousness has to do with how it is that you think and feel about money. Most people never really do this exercise, and they're like, well, what do you mean how? What do you mean how I think and feel about money? Well, let me give you some examples. Money is dirty. My parents always told me we couldn't afford things. Money doesn't just grow on trees, right? We've all heard these things. And so what I try to do with helping students, and I want to give this to you now, is really, first become aware of your money consciousness, maybe even put it on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being I feel completely abundant, I have all the money I'd ever need. And it's not just money, by the way, in manifesting, but we use money as a good example. That's money consciousness, determining that scale. So the first step is that awareness. The second step is to act sort of as a detective and say, I wonder where it comes from, because I recognize now that I have this issue that I think, rich people are evil. And if I have a lot of money, then, well, I'm going to be kind of evil too. See? And this is the way our mind works. So you have to be a little bit of a detective and then work on switching that. In neuro-linguistic programming, they call that framing or reframing. And I can work with you on that in terms of getting that to reframe. So the first step is to be aware of it. The second step is to act as a detective in that belief system of not deserving and money consciousness. And then the third step is work on switching that. And we'll talk about that a little bit. So again, analyze your feelings, about money. Not deserving it usually originates in childhood, perhaps something your parents or an authority figure told you about not just money and having money, but also about being successful. And sometimes it's subtle. Sometimes it could just be the example that your parents gave you, or the example that a teacher that you very much admired gave you, and you incorporated that. And we'll talk about the subconscious, because the subconscious sucks everything in. It doesn't have a filter. And a lot of times it will become your belief system. You're not aware that it's your belief system. So the third element is fear. And that's a big one. It's rather broad, but let's talk about this a little bit. You either have maybe a fear of success or a fear of failure, right? Most people don't recognize that they have a fear of success. That's the hard one. Most people will recognize, well, yeah, I'm afraid of failing. What if this doesn't work out? What will others think of me? What will I think of myself? But there's also a fear of success. And believe it or not, people do fear success of making lots of money or having a dream vocation. I'll give you the example of myself. When I was younger, I was selling things door to door at age 12. Okay. I was an entrepreneur at a very young age. I then became a worker bee for many years, and then I became a successful entrepreneur and self-employed. However, over those years, I would often be thinking about, well, what if I make too much money, right? And this sounds kind of crazy, but this is the way the mind works sometimes. It's called a fear of success. In my mind, before I resolved it, in my mind, I thought, well, rich people aren't the nicest people in the world. I've met a lot of them. And what if I'm rich, and what if I change? And what if people want to just take advantage of me, because all of a sudden I have a lot of money, see? And so this is this fear of success. This is me saying to myself, well, I need to really limit how much money I make, because otherwise I'll turn into this, see? And that's what fear of success is. So ask yourself that question, and again, become aware of it, analyze it. Like, do I really have a fear of success or a fear of failure? And you might have both, because there sometimes is a both. And so it's what others or yourself will feel like having achieved these things. When you boil it down, it's usually just a fear of change. It's not the thing which you look at, it's the change. And these things, if you're having what if questions in your mind, like what if this, like the example I just gave, what if I become too rich? If you're having what if questions, that's the ego, and that's the mind questioning itself. And that tells you have either a fear of success or a fear of failure. And so those are things that we can work on as well. The fear aspect of it, almost everybody has it. Okay, there's very few people who don't have fear. If you don't have fear, you're really not human. They may act as if they don't have fear, and they may look successful online, etc. But even the most successful people have some trepidations. It's just fear on a very low level. Fear on a very high level is anxiety and overwhelming. So those are the three main roadblocks to manifesting, and they originate in the mind. It's what you think and you feel, and that sometimes gets in the way. So again, the remedy for this is become aware of what your thoughts and your feelings are surrounding the concept of money and abundance and success, and then do the steps to change this habitual thinking. And I'm going to talk about this habitual thinking in a minute here. I want to dig in a little further into this worry aspect of the three that I mentioned. So worry is an energy, and in manifesting, since you are this vibrating being and you're attracting things into your experience and into your life, worry becomes this energy that blocks manifesting. It's one of the energies I just mentioned. But instead of attracting and aligning your energy, the worry, fear, or doubt energies, they're all pushing away energies. It's literally a block. And so your manifestation, your creation could be vibrationally kind of right here. It's where my hand is kind of away from my head a bit. And it won't get to you because of these things that I'm describing. But again, remember, you are the creator of your reality, and it's based upon mindset and feelings. Let me give a quote, and I'm paraphrasing a little bit. It's Henry Ford, the creator of the automobile. He once said, if you believe you can achieve something or that you cannot achieve something, you are correct. Okay? He was right, because again, you're manifesting and creating and attracting all the time. So on a conscious level, you may want something, and on an energetic level, you're just not ready for it. It's just there, but it's not yet in your experience. And again, going back to the vibration, when these energies that I'm discussing, which are the thoughts and feelings, when they're on a low vibe, it repels your manifestations in your life. And so the cure is to raise your vibration. And we talk about that a little bit in the membership area about raising vibration. And I'll give you guys some exercises to do that. Let me give you an example of this thing that I'm talking about. I went through a real long period in my life where money didn't flow at all. You know what I mean? I was in this paycheck to paycheck thing. I was additionally carrying a lot of debt and living paycheck to paycheck. So my worry, fear, doubt energy was very high. And it was on my mind in a constant way. To resolve this where I created a couple of different practices. I want to give these exercises to you guys right now to do after this class. The two sort of exercises that I did were abundance meditations, and let me give you that right now. So I would wake in the morning and I put together these sticky notes, the little 3x5 sticky notes or postcards, and you put affirmations on them. And everybody probably knows what affirmations are, but you say things to yourself like, I attract all that I want easily. I am a money magnet. Abundance is just natural for me. And, come up, those are just my phrases. Come up with your own phrases, and then you post them where you can see them first thing in the morning. And maybe that's when you first get out of bed. Maybe it's a mirror right there, or maybe it's a mirror in your bathroom. It's important. I'm going to get into why it's important that you see these things, these affirmations. They're really truth statements, because I'll go back and read them again, they're pure. There's no like what if in those statements. They're just a truth statement. It's almost a command that you're giving to your subconscious. And so I'll read them again. I attract all that I want easily. I am a money magnet. Abundance is just natural for me. See, those are examples of things you can do, and come up with your own. Sit down and think about it. It doesn't have to be any certain number. It could be 5 cards, it could be 20 cards, whatever it is that you need to do. I recommend in the bathroom, because as you're shaving or as you're putting on your makeup or what have you, even if it's out of the corner of your eye, you're going to see these notes up on the bathroom mirror. So it's always good to be, seeing that. And it may sound unbelievable. It may sound far-fetched. However, they do work. There's plenty of books about this as well. The thing that works is your subconscious mind will pick up on these abundance statements and these affirmations, and it will change. It's more powerful to say them out loud, of course, because just like I was saying them out loud, and if you need to each morning, pick 1 or 2, say them out loud. Because what that does, the way the mind works in the subconscious, we're visual, we're auditory, and by saying it out loud, you're bringing those vibrations out of you and out into the world. It will change your habits and your subconscious much faster. A big part also of this abundance mentality is the second part. And the second part of these exercises or practices is what I call gratitude training. And you want to do both of these practices every day if you can. I usually do them in the morning and then before going to bed. That's the best time to get to the subconscious. And what I do is every day to this day, I still write down at least 10 things. It could be 5, it could be whatever number you want, that you're grateful for each day. It could be anything. I'm grateful for having a great place to live in. I'm grateful that I have nice clothes on my back. A lot of people don't even have nice clothes. I'm grateful that I have a car. It could be anything. Just write down all the things that you're grateful for. And then in one column, put it down on a piece of notebook paper. I'm going to show you in a second here. In one column, put the gratitude things, those things that you're grateful for. And then next to it, write down all your worries, fears, and doubts. And let me show you an example. I want to make sure this comes up on the camera. So, and that's how I spell grateful. It's full of great. Grateful is full of great. So if you notice in my happy column, my grateful column, there's a lot more things I'm grateful for than in the fears column, in which there's hardly any, right? It sounds silly, right? It maybe looks silly to some of you watching this, but this again works. It just does. There's many examples of this, of people doing this, and it works. And it definitely has worked for me. It helped me change my mindset, my feelings, and definitely can help you as well. And within a short time of practicing just this gratitude and abundance training, things really started to flow to me. I was creating everything that I really wanted, and it became easier the more I practiced. And that's what I want to emphasize out of manifesting training is the more you do it, it's just like playing a musical instrument or anything else. The more you do it, the better you'll get at it. So you want to keep practicing it as often as possible, okay? The last thing, let's see, let me one more time test, guys. Sorry about this. Let me one more time, because I don't see interactions in the group unless you're in here. Yeah, I do see interactions. Okay, I'm watching. I hear, I can see you. Okay, Denise, thank you. All right, let's keep going. Let me get back to my notes, guys. Sorry, I have a brain that doesn't keep everything upstairs, so hold on. All right, the other thing I wanted to emphasize again is about the fear. So we talked about the worries and the doubts. Let's talk about the fear a little bit further. Give me 1 sec. Let me get some water. All right, so fear. All the energies that I've described, like I said before, the fear, worry, doubt, they're all negative thoughts and feelings, right? And I always, the way I teach, I boil everything down to thoughts and feelings. It's a simple formula. It's a simple way of being. Thoughts, feelings, mind, heart, mind, heart. Keep thinking like that, and it makes your life flow a lot smoother. Okay. Fears can be overcome with a lot of practice and discipline, because fear is really just a mental habit, and habits can be broken. Typical habit takes, there's different speculations on this, but most of the studies show that a typical habit, meaning you're doing these abundance practices, it could be anything to change habitual thinking. Okay. Most habits can be changed within 14 to 21 days. So within 2 to 3 weeks, sometimes as much as 4 weeks. But the most positive, they've done research studies on this stuff. Habits can be changed. Mental habits, physical habits, because let me give you an example of habits and habitual thinking. How many of you right now, when you think about it, male or female, okay, put on your left pair of pants, your left leg first, or your right leg first? Okay. Or if you're shaving, if you're a guy, you do the left side of your face first, or do you do the right side of your face first? Or if you're a female and you're doing your makeup, which eye do you do first? You'd be shocked if you really become aware of that, about how habitual you are physically. And that's an example of physical habituality. I mention that because we're operating almost on automatic. And when you're in that habitual automatic place, you're not aware, you're not mindful, and you need to be mindful to attract and manifest and create what you want in your life. So what I recommend to people do, and it's not super important, but you should do it, is try to switch that up. Okay. Become aware of it and say, whoops, oh, I'm putting on my left leg first, let me switch over. And it sounds silly, but just that little teeny bit will then get your body to change the habits. And once your body changes the habits, your mind will change those habits. That's an example of that. And habitual thinking is just like what it sounds like, meaning you keep thinking the same thoughts over and over and over again. A lot of us do this, myself included. You know, it still comes up as you go through life. It gets better. And for me, it's gotten better. I'm more disciplined, but it still comes up. Like you'll say something to yourself like, "Oh man, my left knee really is aching me this morning. Gosh, you know, bad things just always happening to me." Right? That's habitual thinking. Bad things are always happening to me. Bad things are always happening to me. So, and we're not aware that we even do this sometimes. Again, that's more in the subconscious, but it becomes to the forefront when you become aware of it. So like I said, my life started to flow much, much better as I got more disciplined with this. So let me tell you a quick little story. This is a real important story for me, because I literally, my entire life shifted after this. I had one of these near-death experiences, and my entire life just switched. It was 1993. It was a real clear day. There wasn't any rain or anything. I was driving on my way to work, and I worked in, a very large office community. There's 4 lanes, 2 going this way, 2 going this way, and a concrete median strip with grass in the middle. And this is well known here in San Diego and around the world, eucalyptus trees. They were imported in from Australia. When they get enough rain, they literally explode. This is well known. A lot of people have been hurt. And I'm driving along, and sure enough, thankfully, I was only doing about maybe 45 miles per hour because it was a business zone. And this tree split off, and one gigantic half of it, is about maybe a third of it to a half of it, came down and slammed right onto my windshield. Okay. I could have easily died, because if one of the branches was poking in, it would have hit me in the neck or the head or something. The 2 rungs, the 2 braces in the windshield took the complete brunt of it, and my angels and guidance were watching over me, because the tree fell exactly parallel to those braces. Again, if it had come in at an angle, it could have come in and smacked my face. I was luckily wearing sunglasses at the time, so I got a lot of the dust, because the safety glass, a lot of the dust of the glass went into my mouth and my nose, and thankfully didn't go into my eyes. I did suffer a few injuries. I had some tendon problems because I did get jarred. The energy of the tree went through the steering column and into my hands because I was gripping the wheel. But it wasn't really bad. It could have been much, much worse. So again, I had, the universe or my angels watching over me that day. But everything was symbolic to me even then. This is just before I'd gotten into really heavy spiritual practices. And I knew then that this was a really symbolic event. But more important than that, the reason I'm bringing this story up is because it shifted my mindset. It shifted my entire life. I started thinking very strongly about where I'm going in my life. And prior to this, I was working in engineering as a worker bee. I hated it. I wanted to get out of that and be my own boss, be my own entrepreneur, and own a business. I was also living with an alcoholic girlfriend at the time in a studio, et cetera, lots of debts. One of these like horror stories. And within just a few short months of that, basically I was using, the power of manifesting because I knew about those principles. I let go of that toxic relationship. I manifested literally within, it was about 2 months after that event happened. And I said, I need to change this. My life needs to change. I became fully self-employed. I worked with partners that supported me because I was a contractor. So I worked with colleagues I wanted to work with. I was earning what I needed to support me. I felt good about my earnings. I wanted that refinement where I could work from home if I wanted, and my commute, I wanted to be less than 15 minutes. That was like a thing I had in me. I didn't like these long commutes. And I was really, really excited and enjoying what I was doing. And everything was what I wanted. Everything was flowing. And this all came to me. And it was shortly after that that I met my spiritual mentor. I began learning about this law of attraction stuff and spirituality. And I'm bringing this up because it's a really, really powerful example of how just a shift in your life and your mindset can change everything. And I want to teach you guys how to make this shift in your mindset. My life's never been the same since then. I haven't looked back since then. So let's get into, what is this process that I use to manifest? And again, there's 5 simple steps. I'm going to break them down a little bit here in this class. We don't have a lot of time. We only have about an hour, but I will get into it a bit here. So the 5 steps, and you may want to write this down because it is a formula. Think about it as if it's a recipe book. It's a recipe, and you want to, give me 1 second, guys. Someone comment, please. I'm just checking over and over again to make sure that we're still over in the Facebook group. But if not, guys, I'm going to go ahead and put this recording up in the group so you can see it yourself as well. Okay. So let me get back on track. So the 5 steps. Get out a pen and paper and write these down. They're 5 simple words, and I've boiled it down to these 5, and in this order, by the way. So the first is choice. The second is desire. The third is intention. The fourth is passion. And the 5th is action. Okay. And I know what you're thinking, like what does all this mean? Okay. So let's dive into it a little bit. So the first part, choice, you need to make a choice about what you desire. And it sounds simple, right? Well, I need to make a choice. Well, that sounds overly simplistic, but it's not, because a lot of people will, let's see. Okay. A lot of people think they've made a choice. They say, well, you know what? I want a new job. Let's use this example. I want a new job. There, okay, I've chosen. Well, in a certain sense, from an energetic standpoint, and I can work with you more on this in the group coaching, you haven't really made a choice. And I want to, before I say that, I want to define the difference between a choice and a decision. They're very similar. Choice means you have multiple options. And really, when you're manifesting, you want to be choosing and choosing, because manifesting, I'm using my hand here. Manifesting is when you make your first choice, then your energy and everything else starts going off into a different direction. So if you see my hand, this is the direction you're going in. Then you stop for a second. Oh, wait a minute, because the stopping is you get the feedback from the choice that you've made. Okay, the universe mirrors back your manifesting to you. At that point, you can make another choice, and maybe it shifts a little bit, and then another choice, and maybe it shifts a little bit more, and then another choice, and maybe it shifts a little bit more. And that's okay. And I can give an example of that about a recent road trip I went to go take. I was going to drive cross country, I'll make it short, from California to Florida for a wedding. And a lot of dust and sand and grit got into my eye to the point where I had to stop in Arizona, see an eye doctor, and my eye became damaged just from the amount of wind and everything and sand. I had to turn around and come back to California. That was a choice, okay? And then at that point, when I got back to California, I had to wait for my eye to heal. And I said to myself, well, I'm just going to go fly out there. I got a week to still get out there. That's another choice. And then the eye didn't heal. So that's another choice. See, these are all choices I could have taken, because I could have gone on the flight anyway, even with the eye being bad. So this is how life works. This is how manifesting works. You first make a choice. A decision is a little bit more final. So a decision is I've observed everything, looked at all my options, and now I'm making a decision. But again, even a decision, we have a free will planet that we're living on. You can change decisions, but I want you to understand the energy of it. That's why I'm using my hand like this, because that's how your energy, as you're manifesting, as you're a creator, that's how it works. Okay. You usually will go in a certain trajectory, and then you make another choice, and the trajectory or the direction will shift. Sometimes it's slight, or in the case of the tree falling on me, it was a huge shift. Okay, my life went off in a completely different direction. And sometimes that's how life is too. If you don't make your choices, life will make choices for you. That's an old expression. So you're much better off being the manifestor that chooses. Okay. Second one is desires, and you need to be really fully on board with your desires energetically. Meaning, there's a lot of old expressions when it comes to people teaching manifesting is that you need to do what makes your heart sing. Okay, sing. What makes your heart sing? It's what brings you excitement. That's what desires are. That's why that's the second step. This is why my guidance gave it to me in these steps, because using it in these steps from 1 to 5, it works better. Now, keep in mind, all these steps, when I get to the end, all these steps come together a lot of times at the same time, but it's good to learn the process, the first step, the second step, the third step, okay? So desires are different than passion. I'm going to talk about passion. Desires are building up of that energy, okay? Think of yourself as this generator, like a motor, okay? If any of you are old enough, you remember the old lawnmowers where you pull them and you'd have to pull it again, and eventually you give it a final pull and it starts whirring, okay? You're that same way. Abraham Hicks teaches it as you're a vortex of creation. And I've seen this when I go into a trance state. You can see creations, you can see thought forms. They look like little tornadoes, okay? So you're the generator. Your desire is like the kickstart. Your desire is what brings that elevation of your energy up. Okay, your passion, I'll get into that in a second, but your desire is the kickstart, it's the catalyst. It's like striking a match. That's what starts the fire. That's what desires are. Okay, we'll get into that a little bit more later on in a group session as well. The next one is intentions. So, you set an intention to make it happen. It's sort of the same as saying focus. You want to be very clear. You want to write it down. Is more involved to this than what I can cover here in an hour, but you want to write down as many details of what it is that you want to create. And I've done this repeatedly. I'll bring it in the next class. I can show you my papers. I did one for the next home I wanted to live in. I did one for the next profession that, the contract that I wanted to do. I did the next one for the next car I wanted to get. I've manifested 3 cars over a period of years that were exactly what I wanted. And you could say, well, yeah, you went to a car dealer and you got the exact color. No, that was the car that was available. There was like 2 choices, and the one exact, like the Honda that I drive right now, is exactly color, everything, features, everything that I wanted. And that goes into manifesting. You want to write as many details down as possible, and that's your intention. Attention, when you think about that energy and that flowing and all that, attention is sort of like if my hand is a boat and you're going down your river of life, your intention is the motor behind you, and it's more specifically the rudder. So your intention is kind of how you're focused, okay? Obviously, you don't want to have tunnel vision, okay? Because then that intention is turned to dogma, and it doesn't allow you enough room. You want to set your intention to where it's realistic and feels comfortable for you. But it's very, very similar to focus, but it's energetic. Intention is very, very heartfelt. Intention is not just mind. If you're only thinking about what you want, you're missing a huge part of the energy. And the heart has 1,000 times more energy than what goes on in the mind. The ego's in the mind, and so that blocks our energy. If you're only in your thinking, you want to be thinking, feeling, thinking, feeling, thinking, feeling. Okay, that's intention. The next one is passion. Passion is sort of the same as saying your vibration, your high vibration, to attract desires. Passions involve all the emotions. at the same time, all the senses at the same time, all of your being at the same time. This is why it's called the passions of Christ. I don't want to get into a religious talk from a symbolic standpoint. That's why it's called the passions of Christ. Christ was a pure being. He had pure passion, you see. He knew the energies. He knew how to use these energies. That's why he was able to do what he was doing. So passion involves all of your energies, okay? It involves everything, all aspects of you. Sometimes it takes time to practice being in passion. Some people mute their passions for different reasons, belief systems and such. Passions is hugely important for manifesting. So those first four, okay, those are mostly in the body, either mentally or energetically. The last step is the one that most people, when they're first starting out, don't take, they don't do. Action. Action is self-explanatory, but it's also oftentimes not done. Meaning you go through the first four, you've planned it out in your head, you know exactly what you want, you're feeling a lot of passion about it, but yeah, I'll start it next year, right? That's, laying things off until next year or what have you. Actions don't have to be huge. Greater actions bring you greater results, but they can be small little baby steps, but you have to take action. So let me explain why. Besides mentally and psychologically, that's obvious, right? Energetically, you have to take actions because manifesting is really taking everything from the immaterial or from the non-material world and bringing it into the material world so that you can experience it and reflect it and see it in your perception and in your reality. If it's only in your mind and only in your heart and only in your thinking, then it's wishful thinking. It's just dreaming. Once you take an action, it starts to move it into where you can see it, where you can feel it. And a big part, let me backtrack a second, a big part of manifesting has to do with hope and faith and a trust that you can have this thing, okay? A big example of that I constantly teach people is we're always taught that seeing is believing. Okay, seeing is not believing. We're taught this and it's incorrect. It should be believing is seeing. Okay, and if you have a hard time with that, we can work on that one-on-one, but it's believing is seeing, because believing is seeing means you have trust, faith, and you have, and here's the key, you have an allowing for that manifestation to come to you based upon what I said earlier. In other words, if you are of this attitude that I believe it first as if I already have it, then believing is seeing. So you believe first and then you'll start seeing it versus the other way around, okay? And if you don't have that attitude, that's fine. A lot of people do not, but you need to also question that belief system because that's a belief system. So there's a lot more to this process than I can cover just in this 1 hour period that we have together. I'd love to get more into it with details if we had some more time. So what I want to do, I want to invite you to a 6-week journey with me. It's a more private and intense class, and it's going to show you exactly how to get your mind and your body and your mindset and all these things I've talked about to be more on board to attract all these desires to you, okay? The 6-week journey, let me describe it a little bit. It's a master class. I'll give you some of what's going to go on. It's going to shift your energy so you can attract more of your desires. Again, it's 6 weeks. You're going to start listening to your inner guidance, and I'll teach you how to do that and to manifest your desires, because that's very important. Your intuition and your feelings and sensing is listening to your inner guidance. I'm going to teach you how to tap into your intuition to manifest more wealth, better relationships, health, whatever it is that you want to achieve. You're going to learn how to improve your relationships to money, like I said, the money consciousness, so it flows more naturally to you. And you're going to tap into a frequency of becoming a money magnet, is the way I describe it, and get yourself more into this receiving mode, this attracting mode. You'll be able to feel a lot better, more joyful, passionate about your life, and you'll finally experience the abundance that you were all meant for. And everyone on the planet is meant for abundance. This non-deserving kind of feeling maybe makes you think you don't, but everyone is meant for abundance, is what we were designed to do, is to be abundant. I've called this 6-week program the Creation Codex Mastermind. Let me describe it. It's a mastermind. It'll be 6 weeks long. We'll meet once a week in a private Facebook group. That'll be like the classroom. There'll be online coaching sessions, somewhere between an hour to 2 hours. I'll leave it open. Again, it'll be a live program. There'll be recordings of each one. If you can't make it live, of course, I suggest you come live, because that way you can get one-on-one feedback from me in the class. You're also going to receive, an ongoing access to the recordings. Of course, you can, access those to that mastermind, and those will also be put into this private group, so you can, get to those anytime you want. So if you need to backtrack and go look at a previous class. So it's going to be 6 classes meeting once a week. And then you can contact me via email or messenger if you have any questions, and I'll personally help you along your manifesting journey. Right after you join, you'll get some pre-training materials to look at. I will probably be doing this class in about another week from today. So let me post how you can get involved in this. I'll post this into the group. And give me 1 second, guys. Okay. Here we go. I'm hoping everyone can see this. If not, I'm going to post it again anyway. All right, there we go. And again, I'll probably do it on July 19th. It'll probably be around the same time, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. And, we'll go into that in terms of a live class. Okay, so I'm going to try to go through a question and answer here with you. I'm in the group now. So go ahead and ask any questions you have. I'm going to repeat them out loud. All I'll do is repeat maybe your first name to keep it private. StreamYard is a challenge, as we can see here, because it's supposed to pop up with comments, and it's just not working. I see the little StreamYard logo on the bottom, but that's about it. So go ahead and ask questions about anything you have about manifesting, creating in your life, any questions you have about what I've taught so far. I'd be more than happy to answer anything. Please ask questions now. And let me go into here, see if this helps. See here, you live chat. Okay. All right, I'll wait a few more minutes for some questions. Okay. So don't be shy. Ask any questions you have about manifesting or anything that I have talked about so far. Let me post it again. Talk so far. I'm assuming people can still see me in here. Okay. All right. So while I'm waiting for you guys' questions, I'm going to bring one up that I hear very commonly. Let me post it in here. The common question or feedback that one can experience while trying to manifest is, what if this doesn't work for me the way I want? That's a common one. And I'll post the answer in here as well as comment on it. Okay, hold on. Facebook groups. Yeah, that's working. Okay, let me try this. going to post the StreamYard link in here. See if you guys can. I'm assuming you all clicked that. If you click that StreamYard.com/Facebook, it should come up more live, because it's not coming up live. Okay, so the common question that comes up is, what if this doesn't work out for me just the way that I want it? Just about manifesting in general, because a lot of people have tried manifesting and it doesn't quite work out the way they want it. Much of it is the blockages that I've already described. Much of it is worry, doubt. Much of it is belief systems that are negatively impacting your vibe and your mindset. It takes work. It takes identifying those things, and it takes getting into a mindset that you can attract and vibrate and bring into your experience what you want. So that takes work, and we can do some work on that if you wish, or I can answer your questions here in the group as well. If you guys have questions, once we're done, in fact, let me put this in. If you have questions once we're done, I will answer them once broadcast is over. Okay. All right. So again, if you want, in the classroom, the 6-week class, it's going to be a lot more one-on-one than what I can do here in our Facebook group. What I'm normally, the normal cost for this is normally $11.33 for a 6-week program. That's what I would normally do for some of the other ones I've run. I'm going to go ahead, because this is a launch, I'm chopping it down in half to a small investment of $595. And all you have to do to join is go to www.soullearn.com/mastermind-join. And you can go ahead and pay for that there. Again, it's soullearn.com/mastermind-join. And you can go over there and get involved in that class. We'll have a lot more opportunity to work with you, because we're going to be going one-on-one, at least in a group setting, for at least an hour or two. Plus, you're going to have access to my personal email, so that you can send me, questions that you have. A lot of times, people, even in a virtual group, don't like to share. I grew up in the spiritual realm in large groups where you did them in person, and people didn't like to share. But I understand that. So, and again, that's why I made this group private. So if you don't want to post questions here, that I completely understand that. Again, even if you don't attend the 6-week class, you can message me here in Facebook and in the group if you wish, and I'll try to help you out as much as I can. Okay. All right. So let me check one more time to see if we have any additional questions. And let's see, I don't see any. So I assume either we're having a tech issue, or you guys don't have any questions at the moment, which is good. I've hit y'all with a lot of information. It sometimes will be rather abrupt for your belief systems. Sit with it for a little bit, go back and watch this recording again, and then try to come to understandings of where you are with your belief systems and your mindset. Again, if you need help, go ahead and message me here on Facebook, or again, you can reach me on my personal email. I will also, below this video, I'll put my links to my other social media, so you can contact me there as well. Okay. So if there's no other questions, I'm going to go ahead and end this for now. I'm hoping to see you all in the 6-week masterclass. That would be great. And I will see you on the other side. And just keep being the creators, keep being the amazing, amazing light being creators that you are. Please believe that you are the creators in your own experience and in your own world. Get yourself into that mentality. Fake it until you make it, and act as if you already have it. And if you have any issues or some things you want to talk to me about, please reach out to me, okay? So it's Hal Weinschenk for now. I'm going to go ahead and sign off, and I'll see you guys the next time. I'll do another broadcast soon, and I'll put this replay up as soon as I possibly can, okay? Thanks a lot. Talk to you soon.